Hi everyone, my name is Elaine, and today I'm going to be both summarizing and reviewing the 32nd novel in Terry Pratchett's Discworld series, A Hat Full of Sky, starting with the summary. Chapter 1, Leaving. Something searches for a suitable mind. Tiffany leaves home accompanied by Miss Tick. She's going to study witchcraft. After marrying Rob Anybody, Jeannie of the Long Lake had become Kelda of the local Feagle, replacing Tiffany. The Feagle notice that something is following Tiffany. Hamish and Big Jan inform Rob that a Hiver is after Tiffany. The Kelda overhears and announces that Tiffany must face the danger on her own. Chapter 2, Two Shirts and Two Noses. Miss Tick senses something and makes her uneasy. She creates a shamble, a simple magic detector and amplifier. The egg at its core explodes. Miss Tick brushes its meaning away. She lies and says she feels better as they leave Two Shirts behind and head into the woods. Miss Tick teaches Tiffany more about shambles. The witches meet Miss Level, who is to teach Tiffany. After sensing something, Miss Level crafts a shamble. Tiffany yells. The matchbox at the shamble's core explodes. After Tiffany recovers, Miss Tick takes her leave and Tiffany and Miss Level travel by broom to the Elder Witch's cottage. Upon arrival, Tiffany senses something is wrong with Miss Level's character. Chapter 3, A Single-Minded Lady. Tiffany begins settling into the cottage and notices that something invisible keeps tidying up after her. Tiffany learns that Miss Level is one person with two bodies on page 77. She shares her cottage with Oswald and Ondegeist, like a poltergeist, but the opposite and obsessed with tidiness. The entity is what puts everything back in its place. Tiffany begins helping Miss Level with her chores, like tending to the goats. A book about Hivers reveals that they were formed in the first seconds of creation. They are not alive, but they have the shape of life. They have no body, brain, or thoughts of their own, and a naked Hiver is a sluggish thing indeed, tumbling gently through the endless night between the worlds. A Hiver does have the ability to fear and to crave. They seem to take refuge in bodies that have power of some sort. Great strength, great intellect, great prowess with magic. A Hiver distorts the mind of its host, curdling it and inevitably causing an early death through brain fever. That's on pages 89 and 90. After she finds him pining, the Kelda orders Rob Anybody to save Tiffany. Chapter 4, The PLN. Rob and his chosen agree to the Newgonagall's plan to travel by Scarecrow. Tiffany serves as Miss Level's apprentice. Tiffany helps the Elder Witch tend to the local villagers by delivering babies, etc. The Feagle set out to rescue Tiffany. Tiffany struggles to construct a shamble. Miss Level notices something coming in her own. Chapter 5, The Circle. Tiffany attends a meeting of young witches, which is run by Anagramma Hawken, who wishes to make witchcraft more modern, like her teacher Mrs. Earwig. All Anagramma does is berate and insult the other girls and Granny Weatherwax. Tiffany begins to feel homesick. Something sees Tiffany and becomes her. Chapter 6, The Hiver. The Kelda realizes that it's found her. Miss Level informs Tiffany that all the curse nets and old shambles have exploded and the boredom stones are discharged. She assumes something strange must have happened because Oswald has gone away as well. Tiffany begins acting out of character. She longs for more and begins to resent the life of a witch, people's needs and demands. The words "help me" begin to appear around her as she does her chores. She writes or speaks them. And she hears a voice in her head. While helping Miss Level, Tiffany's appearance declines and she appears delirious to Miss Level, who also hears a man's voice coming from Tiffany's lips. Tiffany reports feeling crowded. The other Miss Level comes to collect her and tries to tend to her, but they get into a fight and Tiffany rides away. The Feagle arrive at Miss Level's cottage and notice that the Hiver has got Tiffany, but she's trying to fight it. Miss Level captures Daft Willie and tempts the others out of hiding with the suggestion of alcohol. The Feagle talk to Miss Level about the Hiver. Awfully Wee Billy explains that when it finds ye, it waits for a chance to creep into your head and it becomes ye. It gives ye a lot of power, but it takes ye over, makes ye its own. That's on page 171. Rob Anybody explains that the Hiver wanted Tiffany because she contains the power of the land. After speaking to the Feagle a little longer, Miss Level realizes that the Hiver got in, while Tiffany was out borrowing. Chapter 7, The Matter of Brian. Tiffany seeks Anagramma's help. The Hiver wants allies for protection as well as potential sacrifices. Anagramma notices an echo in Tiffany's voice. The Hiver assures her it'll stop soon. While out shopping with Anagramma, Tiffany turns a shopkeeper's bouncer, Brian, into a frog. She threatens the shopkeeper and receives a large discount. The Feagle explain their plan to Miss Level. They plan to enter Tiffany's mind through her dreams and rouse her into fighting the Hiver off. The Hiver kills half of Miss Level after she yells at Tiffany for allegedly stealing some money to pay for her shopping trip. Chapter 8, The Secret Land. The Feagle break the news to the remaining half of Miss Level. Tiffany has fallen unconscious and ill. The Feagle enter Tiffany's mind. They find a quiet landscape with a black sky and setting sun. They stumble across her safe place, her grandmother's hut. Billy believes it's her soul and center. The Feagle know they have to draw the beast there, where Tiffany has power for her to stand a chance against it. Rob sends the others away. They're supposed to have Miss Level make the Hiver smell scents from home, like fresh sheep wool, to draw the Hiver to the battleground so Tiffany can defeat it before the sun sets and she is lost forever. The Feagle gather the smells of the shepherding hut and lay them below Tiffany's chin. The Feagle begin fighting the Hiver. The hills in Tiffany's mind become Tiffany. She fights the Hiver. There's a knock on the door. Chapter 9, Soul and Center. After crushing the Hiver in her closed fist, Tiffany awakens. She begins to remember what she did while she was being controlled by the Hiver. Tiffany is thrown back into her chores, like milking the goats. The Hiver's memories begin to surface. Granny begins to sift through them to get Tiffany to emerge. Eventually, the old witch manages. Granny instructs Tiffany to be herself as hard as possible to get the echoes to die away. Granny assures Miss Level that the Hiver is gone because Oswald has returned. Tiffany and Granny set out to tend to Miss Level's villagers. Tiffany is upset by her actions while under the Hiver's influence. Both witches know that Tiffany only cast the Hiver out. Tiffany can sense it because there's a bit of her still in it. That's on page 257. Tiffany knows it'll come looking for her eventually and promises to deal with it. Granny doesn't think she's ready to face it just yet. Chapter 10, The Late Bloomer. The witches make their rounds. Tiffany picks a bouquet of flowers for Mr. Weevil to present to the widow Tussie when he proposes. Tiffany announces that she wants to lure the Hiver into the mountains so it won't be around people when it comes for her. Granny decides to accompany her. Granny and the 11-year-old Tiffany head into the mountains. Tiffany realizes that the Hiver is going to stay away because Granny is with her. Tiffany realizes that the bit of her inside of the Hiver is making it afraid of the old witch, since she's a tad afraid of her. Tiffany also believes they're thinking about the Hiver the wrong way. She has trouble articulating why. Chapter 11, Arthur. Tiffany and Granny head to the witch trials. The Hiver follows them, but they believe it'll stay away because of all the witches. They were wrong. The Hiver comes for Tiffany. Tiffany realizes the Hiver provides people with what they think they want. Tiffany welcomes the Hiver to a safe place. The frightened Hiver wants shelter from everything. Once they begin to understand each other more, the Hiver asks Tiffany to make everything right by teaching it how to die. Tiffany travels through Death's Door with Rob and the Hiver. Tiffany names the Hiver Arthur. Tiffany directs the Hiver across the sand. After it is gone, she prepares to leave, but there is no longer an exit. Death greets her. Chapter 12, The Egress. Death informs Rob and Tiffany they'll have to find their own way out and not to fall asleep, as slumber in this land will not end. He vanishes. Granny opens the door again and lets Tiffany and Rob out. Tiffany inherits Granny's hat. Chapter 13, The Witch Trials. The witch trials commence. There is a lot of gossiping about Tiffany and Granny, neither of whom join the trials. The Kelda watches as Rob returns home. Chapter 14, Queen of the Bees. Tiffany visits Granny. She dances with a witch constructed of borrowed bees before entering Granny's cottage. Tiffany returns Granny's hat. It's not the right hat for her. She's wearing a store-bought one at the moment until she finds the right one. In Granny's company, Tiffany begins to work out that her experience with the Hiver was real and learns that Granny's plan was always to let Tiffany deal with the Hiver unless she lost, in which case, Granny would have done the best she could to deal with it. Tiffany presents Granny with a zephyr billow cloak. Chapter 15, A Hat Full of Sky. Tiffany returns home. The Feagle had gone ahead of her. Tiffany meets the Kelda's children, one of which is a girl. The Chalk is proud of their witch. Tiffany casts her store-bought hat away and crafts one out of the sky. And that's the end of the summary. And now, on to my book review. I enjoyed this novel. I felt as though it maintained a good pace, but wasn't as humorous as some of the other novels that came earlier despite the presence of the Nakmek Feagle. Even so, I enjoyed their excursions onto the page, their enthusiasm, their will to fight, their constant cursing and love and drink, love and making fun of one another. With that being said, I'm not sure how I feel about the Hiver. It's afraid of everything and seeks shelter in the strong. It has no mind of its own, yet is driven to do this. Then kills the host because it doesn't understand them and what they need to survive. It seems contradictory to feel fear, seek shelter, comfort, and allies. Share the allies' mind and then get them killed anyway. Like, doesn't the host still feel hungry and thirsty and stuff? And wouldn't the Hiver then feel those cues? And what is a bodiless form that's nearly impossible to kill truly afraid of? What does it think is going to happen to it? Where does it get this thought it's not supposed to have since it's supposed to lack a mind? I guess I simply feel the explanations of this creature were inadequate and contradictory and raised far more questions than they answered, and this bothers me. So overall, I gave this book a 4.1 out of 5-star rating. And there you have it, my summary and review of Terry Pratchett's A Hat Full of Sky. What did you think of my review and my summary? And what did you think of this novel if you read it? Let me know down below in the comments. I always like to know what you guys think. And if you like what you saw here today, please smash that like button until it's blue, subscribe, ring that bell so you'll know what's up, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Bye, guys.
Hey! Hey! Are you listening? Hey, this is Billy West. I knew you'd recognize my voice, but sometimes you can't, because you're watching King's Entertainment Reviews. Now, I would love it, being the professor, if you'd comment, like, and subscribe. You hear that? He knows what he's talking about, because he's a smart old bastard. Yeah. All right, now, get with it.